Hello guys, my name is Amin and welcome to In the Depths of .NET playlist. If you want to be enterprise programmer, you must know your framework deep level. So the thing I'm going to do is tell you about .NET depths. In this session, I'm going to talk about async ecosystem in C#. What happens when we use async and await keyword in C# and .NET. So follow the rest of the video, and if you like it, like this video, share it, and leave a comment, and subscribe us. Before I tell you about async ecosystem on C# and what happens when we use async and await keyword, let me tell you about sync for those who might know about. I can define sync programming as basic form of programming. Your code will execute line by line, and you won't use your resources potential as high as it's possible. So let's go to the code and see sample of sync programming. I create console app right here. So first of all, let me show you what's sync programming on this console app. So right here, I'm gonna define variable name first name. I'm gonna name it Amin, and I'm gonna define variable name last name, and I'm gonna pass YZ to it. So let me create method name full name, which returns full name to me. Okay, I'm gonna sum these two, and very good. I have to return string here. Okay, so, and I have method name my operation right here, operation, and I will invoke full name method right here, and I'm gonna invoke it, and I'm gonna pass first name and last name. Okay, and I will console.write the full name. So console. So I'm gonna execute my operation right here. What will happen is first name variable gonna defined on my memory, then my last name variable gonna define on my memory, then it goes to my operation, which right here execute full name method right here. So it will goes here and it will return me full name and will save it on here. Then it's gonna write it on console. So that's what sync is. What's async? Let's see. What's async? For those who might know about async and sync, just skip these two chapters. But if you are a beginner and you don't know, just follow the rest of the video. Async programming is when you have time-consuming operation. For example, you have an operation that goes to database and extracts some information from it, and you have another operation which calls API and extracts some information from there. If you want to use these two together, you'll lose many time and you're not using your resources potential. So the thing that you can do is continue executing other codes while it's waiting for response. Instead of blocking a whole process and using a single core of CPU, you can use async. If you didn't understand, just follow the rest of the video and you will understand. Many beginner programmers that I saw confuse between parallel and async. They are two different things. When you use parallel, these two operations will execute at the same time, but async is waiting for a response while it's executing other code. Sometimes it's better to use sync. For example, your operation is not time consuming and it's very simple. Making a thread and task and async costs you resources and it takes some time. So using sync in this scenario is better for you. So let's go to the code and check it on there. Okay, here I am on a Rider. I'm using Rider because for some features that I like IL tool. I'm gonna tell you what is it at the end of the video. So the thing that I'm gonna do is let me create a class name, my class, for example, my class. I know it's a stupid name, but it's just a sample. I'm not gonna do a real world thing here. It's just a sample. Okay, let me just create public method name which returns task with name of get data from API. Okay, this method just goes to API and gets some information from there. So for calling the API, I'm using HTTP client. Right here, I'm gonna create an instance of that. I know it's not clean and it's not the best way, it's just a sample, guys. Keep it on your mind. And I'm gonna define the variable name result, and I'm gonna invoke get a string async, and I'm gonna give the Google address, google.com address. Okay, so look at here, I used task. When you are using async, the best way is using task. You can use void too, but I don't suggest you to do that because you will lose some benefits, some state. You will lose many things and it's not good. You will lose many features, but task is the best way that you can do. Why? Because you are dealing with async result here. Look at here, async, async result. So if you are using void for calling the async method, that's possible, but it's not the best way to do that. So I'm gonna make this method async. So the thing that I'm gonna do is put async keyword behind the task. Look at here, it gives me a warning to use await keyword. Every time that you are using async, you have to use await keyword to define a state machine. So what's a state machine? I'm gonna tell you at the rest of the video, and it's one of the purpose of this video is to tell you about a state machine. So just look at here. Each time it returns task, you can use await to just get a result, and see it gives me a string instead of give me a task which returns a string. So I'm getting a result here by using await. But if I use result, it's gonna block the process. Look at here, I can use the result here on the task and it gives me a string, but it's blocking the process. With async and await keyword, I'm doing it asyncly and it's gonna wait for the result while it's executing other codes on my program. That's the definition of async. So that's a simple definition of async that I can give you. So, and okay, that's enough for this method. Let's go to the another method named public async task name get data from database. Okay, so I'm gonna use Dapper here. So if you don't know what Dapper is, it's just a mini ORM. It's not that hard. And I'm gonna first make SQL connection here, new SQL connection here, and I'm gonna give it empty string because it's tutorial, it's not real world project. So, and I have result, which just returns me some result from database, and I'm using SQL. I think I'm doing query async. It wants some query, SQL query, and for example, I say select all from dbo.people. So, and just that. This is a tutorial and I'm not gonna waste your time on a Dapper and what's happened behind that, and I'm not gonna tell you about that. The point of this tutorial is tell you about async, so I'm not gonna write these codes clean because I want to tell you about async. But if you are interested about writing your codes clean, you can use Arch Expert playlist that I'm recording on YouTube. Okay, let's use this method together. So I have async method name, my operation on program. Okay, I forgot task. Okay, and I'm gonna create my class instance. I'm gonna create an instance from my class, new my class, and I'm gonna invoke get data from API and get data from database. So, and I have to use await before these two methods right here. So just that. And this is the async operation. So on this case, I can use parallel too. Why? Because these two methods have no needs together. So I can use something like this: await task dot when all, basic form of parallel programming, and I give these two tasks to it, and instead of doing this, I do this, and it's parallel. They're executing at same time. Parallel. It's a parallel programming. Parallel programming is more than this code right here, so you can just search about it, and there are many stuff about parallel programming. Okay, let's see what happened when we use async on C#. That's enough with async, and I have just as a basic form of async programming, and I have nothing more for you on this chapter. Follow the next chapter to see what happened when we use async keyword on C#. What happens when we use async keyword in C#? This is a moment that you're waiting for. The whole purpose of this video is to tell you about depths of .NET, and knowing this is one of the most important things on .NET and async programming on C#. State machine. When we use async and await keyword in C#, IL will generate state machine. What's a state machine? When you are using task and await, when you use await keyword, it creates a state machine. And this state machine holds state of that operation. So it's important to know that a state machine has cost. When you use await, it's gonna take some time and some resources to create a state machine. Let's go to the rider and see on the code. Here I am on a rider. I have a method named my operation right here. It's asynchronous. So on tools right here, on IL viewer, you can compile your C# code to lower level. Okay, look at here. I had async and look, it's gone. Compiler, the IL compiler makes it to this piece of code right here. It removes async. It's making it asynchronous by this way. It creates a state machine, and right here it creates instance of state machine builder, and on here set the state and just start the operation. It won't wait for the result. Just return this task. With this piece of code right here, it goes to another state of machine. For example, you have async method. It uses this method to goes to another method to invoke. That's all I have for you today. I hope that you enjoy this video, and if you like it, don't forget to subscribe this channel and leave a comment.